What really happened behind the scenes between Jimin and Jungkook? Why did their words that night make thousands of ARMY cry in silence? Is this the farewell signal we've been dreading? Don't miss a word, because this shocking confession could change everything for BTS and ARMY forever. Is there anything more painful than a long silence between two people who once vowed to stay together, no matter what? And that night, as thousands of eyes were fixed on Jimin and Jungkook, something unspoken finally broke out. Something deeper than just friendship, heavier than just nostalgia. Something that made every ARMY that watched it speechless, choked, then finally cried. But what exactly happened? Is this really the end of an era? Is this the farewell signal that we have been afraid of, but do not dare to say? Why did Jimin choose to speak now? And why does Jungkook look like he can barely hold back his tears? It was a night planned as a celebration. A stage of celebration for success, for a new hope. But who could have thought that behind all that laughter, there were words that had been waiting for years to finally be expressed? A little secret that has been hidden behind camera lenses, searchlights, and standing ovations. Jimin stood in the middle of the stage, looking at the thousands of cheering ARMY, but his eyes were looking for one figure, Jungkook. And as he found them, it was as if another world collapsed around them. There was something in Jimin's eyes that night, something that made everyone feel that whatever he would say would change everything. All this time, Jimin's voice trembled and the previously cheering stage went silent. There is someone who always makes me want to be better. Someone who, without him, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. Instantly, the cameras turned to Jungkook, who appeared to be looking down, biting his lips, trying hard to stay firm. The ARMY knows. Those who have been following their journey for many years know. These are not just sweet words that are usually thrown at concerts. It's over. It's much deeper. Jimin took a deep breath. I was always afraid to say it, because I'm afraid all this will change. But I have to be honest. Jungkook, you're not just our magne. You're my brother. You are part of my soul. Rumbling sounds from the ARMY were heard, mostly in the form of restrained sobs. And even the other BTS members seemed to be looking away, trying to hide their emotions. But the real surprises are not over yet, because when it was Jungkook's turn to speak, no one could be prepared for what came out of his lips. With a hoarse voice that almost broke, Jungkook said, "Hyung, I never told you, but you're the reason I survived." Those words, so simple yet so devastating, made the ARMY seem to be able to hear the sound of thousands of hearts breaking at a time. But wait, there's something in the way Jungkook says it. Something that sounds like, farewell. Is this really a breakup? Is this the last confession before they each take a different path in life? Is this the moment when we finally have to let go? Many ARMY wondered, is this related to the rumors that have been circulating? About solo projects? About a possible hiatus? Or even something deeper and more personal? Jimin stepped toward Jungkook, held him tightly, and in that embrace, the world seemed to pause. All doubts, all fears, all hopes and uncertainties poured out in that one embrace. "No matter where you go," Jimin whispered, loud enough for the microphone to catch him, "I'll always be there for you." And Jungkook, in an almost inaudible voice, replied, "So am I, Hyung." But still, something hangs in the air. A sense of finality. It was as if this was the last confession before something big changed. Does this mean that Jungkook will start a new chapter alone? Is Jimin preparing to step down a different path? What about BTS? What about us, the ARMY, who have hung our hearts on them for years? There was no answer that night. Just tears. Only words spoken with naked honesty that we so rarely see on such a large stage. And when the concert ended, when the lights went out and the ARMY began to leave the venue with puffy eyes, one question still hung in the air. Is this the beginning of an end? Or is it a silent promise to stay together, no matter how much distance separates them? What is clear, Jimin and Jungkook's words that night will never be forgotten. Like beautiful scars, they will continue to be imprinted in the hearts of all who hear them. One thing is certain. That night, Jimin and Jungkook proved that their relationship was more than just group mates. They are brothers, souls bound by something stronger than popularity, deeper than just music, and we, the ARMY, are witnesses of that moment, a moment in which two hearts make their voices heard amid thousands of screams. A moment where honesty conquers all, but the question remains, what will happen after this? Will there be an inevitable breakup? Or is this a new promise, a promise that they secretly made that night, without words, only with looks and hugs? Time will tell. But until then, we can only hold those memories tight, hoping, praying, and believing that their bond, the bond that night showed to the world, will last forever. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere behind the glitter of the world, Jimin and Jungkook are holding each other's hands, pledging in silence. We will stay together, whatever happens. And when the night was really over, no one could really leave the place without carrying a portion of the emotions bubbling inside their chests. It was as if the whole world had changed. Even the air felt different. There is something that cracks, but oddly enough, also something that is reborn that I didn't take long before the internet exploded. Hashtags about hashtag Jungkook forever. Hashtag thank you Jimin. Hashtag stay with us Jungkook are trending #1 worldwide. Fans, who had only been able to guess about the depth of Jimin and Jungkook's relationship, now finally have proof that what's going on between them is far more than they could ever have imagined. But behind all the cries and words of emotion, one burning question arises that cannot be ignored. Is this a sign that Jimin and Jungkook will take their respective paths? Why did the evening feel like a kind of farewell? Although not a single word about parting was actually said, why does every word sound like a love letter? Why, even in such a tight embrace, is there unspoken pain? And just as people were wondering, there came pieces of the video from the concert that were analyzed in as much detail as possible by the ARMY. Hand movements, eye gaze, sound vibrations, everything is checked one by one. It's as if we were meticulous enough, we could find an answer among all of them. And one of the video clips, Jungkook can barely hold back his tears after Jimin hugs him. He covered his face with his hands, as if trying to hide the emotions that had overwhelmed him. And Jimin, instead of moving away, patted his back softly, like a brother calming his sister in the middle of a big storm. Does that mean Jungkook is facing a big decision? Does Jimin know something we don't yet know? Is this about the future of BTS? Or more personal? About life choices, about dreams to pursue even if that means having to walk a different path? No one knows for sure. All we know is that something has changed that night. Several inside sources, who declined to be named, divulged that the emotional conversations on stage were actually just a small part of a larger discussion going on backstage. Jimin and Jungkook disappeared for almost half an hour before the concert began. When they returned, the eyes of both were red, as if they had discussed something very heavy. What are they talking about? Is it about Jungkook's decision to release a solo album entirely and perhaps pursue a bigger international career than before? Is Jimin preparing something that will shake the world? Or is it about something more personal? A promise, a breakup, a dream that must finally be let go? These questions filled not only social media but also ARMY hearts around the world. Not a few speculate that this is the beginning of BTS's new era, where each member will begin to focus more on their personal journey. But speculation is speculation. No one knows for sure, and that's what makes everything even more emotional, more painful, and more hopeful at the same time. Because if there's one thing BTS has taught us, it's that true love is never about holding back the person we love. True love is about supporting them, even if it means we have to let them fly high into the skies we can't reach. And maybe that's what's going on between Jimin and Jungkook, a brotherly love, so deep, so pure, that they are willing to let each other pursue dreams, despite having to face uncertainty and distance. But the night was not just about tears. Behind all that sadness, there were also small smiles full of confidence that, no matter what, their bond would never fade. As Jimin said, "No matter where you go, I will always be there for you." And like Jungkook's almost inaudible reply, "So am I, Hyung." Those lines, though brief, are enough to be a lamp in the darkness, enough to be a reminder that love is never truly lost. It just changes shape. But again, we wonder, is this a goodbye or a promise? Is this the end of Jimin and Jungkook as the duo we've come to know and love? Or is this the beginning of a relationship that is more mature, stronger, and deeper than ever? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. That night, Jimin and Jungkook taught us all that sometimes the simplest words can thrill deeper than the longest speech. That a hug can speak more than 1,000 songs. That honesty, however painful, is always more beautiful than pretense. And that in this world that is changing so quickly, there,